Hello everybody and welcome to Bull Technology. It's been several days since I've posted a video, and that's largely due to me revisiting and replaying Cyberpunk 2077. When this game first came out about a year ago, it was probably the most anticipated game of 2020. I mean, Keanu Reeves, a massive open world, and an incredible story. What's not to get excited for? But bugginess, performance issues, and a lack of promised features at launch meant that Cyberpunk 2077 quickly became one of the greatest video game failures in recent history. So after almost a year of updates and patches, I'm here today to give Cyberpunk 2077 a review. Let's get started. Cyberpunk 2077 is, according to CD Projekt Red, the developer, an open-world action-adventure story set in Night City, a megalopolis obsessed with power, glamour, and body modification. You play V, a mercenary outlaw going after a one-of-a-kind implant that is key to immortality. You can customize your character's cyberware, skill set, and playstyle, and explore a vast city where the choices you make shape the story and the world around you. Cyberpunk is available for the current and last-gen consoles for both the Xbox and PlayStation, as well as the PC and Google Stadia. All of the content featured in this review was played on my Xbox Series S, which runs at 1440p and 30 frames per second, although the capture software I was using only captured it at 1080p and 30 frames per second. Cyberpunk begins with character creation, where you can customize the appearance of your character and, more importantly, choose how to spend the 7 attribute points you're given. The attribute system works in a similar way to the perk system in Fallout 4 or any other RPG game. As you level up in-game, you not only get attribute points, but also perk points that you can spend on subcategories within the attributes themselves. Want to have a larger carrying capacity? Well, there's a perk for that. Want to increase your hacking ability? Well, there's also a perk for that. Overall, the perk system works well enough, and I have no real complaints here. Anyways, after you create your character, you must then pick a life path for your character. You can pick a nomad, street kid, or corporo. The titles here are pretty self-explanatory, and this is a great idea in theory. However, this is one of my largest gripes with Cyberpunk 2077. After the initial intro to the game, the storyline no longer has any uniqueness to the given path you pick. Essentially, it doesn't matter which life path you pick because in the end, you'll still play the same exact quests. Sure, there's some unique dialogue options, but the game lacks any real unique experience, which is definitely frustrating to say the least. Thankfully, though, the main storyline is incredible. I won't get into any spoilers here, but I'll say this. While in many other open world games I tend to avoid the main storyline, Cyberpunk's storyline got me hooked almost instantly. It's different, fun, and exciting, and the dialogue is really good. I think if most people buy this game just to play through the main storyline, they'll be satisfied with the quality of the main story. While yes, the main storyline is terrific, the side quests and other world events leave quite a bit to be desired. There are quite a few side quests and events to do throughout the city, but when you consider the scale and the size of the city, the world feels really, really empty. I'm sure you can take out some bad guys for the NCPD or get into a fight with another street kid, but these events quickly become redundant and are a stark contrast to the main story. And this leads me to the world itself. Night City, where Cyberpunk takes place, is absolutely stunning. I feel like CD Projekt Red really nailed the cyberpunk aesthetic. The whole world is edgy and dingy and dark, while also looking vibrant and beautiful. The lighting effects and the graphics are absolutely superb, and overall the visual quality of the game is excellent. But as I said earlier, the city just feels empty. The hordes of people walking around are largely set dressing, and so too are most of the buildings and vendors. I mean, I understand that every building and person can't be interactable, but come on, why can't I even talk to the dude selling noodles right outside my apartment? Why can't I enter these buildings with open signs in their front windows? It's just frustrating because the overall aesthetic is so good, and it's clear that there's an incredible amount of potential here. Honestly, large parts of the map just feel like a blank slate for future additions to the game. Another gripe of mine is just the lack of features. There's no customization for vehicles, no customization for housing, and these were features that were promised early on in Cyberpunk's development. Brain dances are kind of a big deal in the main storyline, and yet you can't do anything with them outside of the main storyline. The crafting system and upgrading system also feel half-baked, and these are just a few complaints that I have and examples of areas where it seems like corners were cut in the development process. While we're on the topic of the development process, I think it's important to address the issues that Cyberpunk had at launch. I can confidently say that a lot of the bugginess of the game has definitely been improved, and the performance has also been improved, and largely I'm not having the same performance issues I was having when the game first launched. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the combat and AI system. I think this is probably the worst issue with Cyberpunk as it sits now. There's really no way to tell how strong an enemy is, and it seems like the leveling of the game doesn't carry through to all of the enemies. I had several quests where I arrived and was instantly one-shotted by an enemy, and had even more quests where I would arrive and I could take out all of the enemies with just a few hits. And when you add the incredibly poor AI that Cyberpunk has, it just makes the combat not fun at all. Before I get to my conclusion, I should just briefly mention that it is rumored that there is an expansion pack and a major patch that are rumored to come out soon and may fix or add some features to the game, but again, that remains to be seen. Overall, and you're probably not expecting this, but it's true, Cyberpunk 2077 is a great game. It just doesn't live up to what was promised. The world is really cool and amazing to explore, and the main quest line is definitely worth playing through. But in terms of being revolutionary, it just isn't. Not yet, at least. So is Cyberpunk 2077 worth it? Well, that depends. The MSRP of the game is $59.99, and I would say at that price, probably no. But if you can get Cyberpunk on sale, I would definitely recommend picking it up because the game only stands to improve as time moves on. And at the time of this recording, Cyberpunk is currently on sale on Steam for PC at $29.99. That's a 50% off, and I definitely say that's a fair price. Look, I want Cyberpunk to succeed. I want CD Projekt Red to add to this game and fix this game, because it's definitely worth it. Look at No Man's Sky. It was a disaster when it first came out, but it's a decent game now. Let's hope that Cyberpunk can follow that model. But until then, be sure to leave a like, a comment, and definitely subscribe. And as always, thank you all for watching.